Hey everyone, welcome back to Boxmining. I'm here with an old friend, Wytek, and we're going to talk about gaming on a blockchain today. So Wytek, thank you so much for coming today, and welcome back to the channel.
Thanks for having me on.
Can you explain quickly what Enjin's trying to do here for anyone who's new to this channel?
Sure. So we're trying to be the platform to build blockchain items and put them inside games. We're trying to make a tool that game developers can use to actually create this new type of item, the ownable item that you can trade with people inside and outside of games.
You know, this is a funny thing because I've been kind of supporting this project for a long time. If you guys know, I've been talking about it. And the reason why is because I'm a game developer. I've been developing games for a while. I've been doing game design. And I feel like this is something that we really need in the gaming space because the kind of vision and why I got interested in this project is because over the past few years, we don't really have true item ownership. And in fact, we never had true item ownership in gaming. And less games are allowing game trading items. And I think this is something that players want, we want, but it's not really there anymore. So I feel like this is something that is very unexplored. And I feel gamers really need to know that this is possible to really own an item and then meet up in real life and be able to trade these virtual items with each other. So, so what's happening currently with the project? What are you guys doing so far?
So over the last few months, we've been putting our heads down, working really hard on getting the technology done. We are working on a game demo. We basically been doing the Minecraft on one hand, and then a Unity plugin. And as part of the Unity SDK plugin, we are doing a game demo that we're going to show off next month, and it's going to have all the functionality. You're going to be able to trade items in a game and then see them reflected in your wallet, and it's going to have faster than the block confirmation time. So the response will be instant.
Wait, that's a lot of information coming at once. So you got the Minecraft plugin. So we got a few things we gotta talk about. All right, so I just saw there. So you got the Minecraft plugin, you got Unity SDK, and you got even faster than Ethereum confirmation time. So
Well,
let's talk about the Minecraft stuff first. All right, let's start from the basics. All right, so we started with Minecraft first, I think, in the last interview. So why don't we start with the Minecraft first? So I mean, Minecraft is a game where you create your own items. You can have basically custom servers where you can basically farm and create items and adventure in the world. So Minecraft is a very big kind of sandbox, right? So I think the last time we talked about it, we're at the sandbox stage where server owners can create their own environment. And how does Enjin fit into this? What are you guys trying to do here?
yeah, so we're letting people who run Minecraft servers like attach items inside Minecraft to a token, and then they'll be able to distribute that token in the game, or they'll be able to sell it on their websites because a lot of Minecraft servers do this. They sell virtual items for to support their servers. They're going to be able to integrate it into their game logic, so you'll be able to win these items as rewards, or when you pick them up, if you find that epic thing in the game, you'll get it. You receive it in your wallet, and as part of this, we also released our Enjin wallet earlier, and this is going to function hand in hand with the Minecraft integration and all the game integration we're doing.
So the idea is that the silver owners are trying to make money here, right? So basically, what they're trying to do is they're creating these items, and then what you want is that the items not only show up in game but on the Enjin wallet too.
Yes, so it'll be like your inventory. It'll show up in the wallet as your inventory, basically, of all those blockchain items.
Yeah, and I think this is something that because yesterday it's kind of funny because I'm a big gamer and I've been doing game development for a while. And this is something that's really not fully explored yet. I was actually talking to like my friend yesterday, and we're basically saying that having a wallet, mobile wallet integration and controlling items, like Blizzard tried to do it. We've seen a few games they try to put their in-game auction houses on the mobile wallet yet, but we haven't really seen a place where we can put, like, say, potentially every game, every item onto a wallet and be able to trade, basically even potentially out of the game. So I feel like this is something that a lot of people aren't really kind of accustomed to yet, but it's gonna be something I feel like it's gonna be quite important. I mean, I'm a big MMO player, and back in the World of Warcraft
Yeah.
games, I'm a big auction house guy. so
Yeah.
I definitely see the potential of that. Basically having items, showing those items off, and being able to meet people up, because gaming is super social too. I think this is something that we kind of forget all the time. You definitely meet people up in real life, either in LAN parties or meetups, and having a mobile wallet and control outside of the game, I feel is quite interesting. It's definitely something that's being done. So I feel the difficulty here is to really sell that, to be able to tell people that this such technology exists. Because I think gamers are in the blind to this. They're like, oh, what's this, right? It's never been done properly before, but blockchain allows us to do it. We've been able to trade cryptocurrencies basically freely for such a long time. We're so used to it, accustomed to it, but people that's generally outside, they're not. So, I hope you can do that with Minecraft. I hope. So how's the development on that so far?
So yeah, we're still working on the SDK for Minecraft, but we're slated to release that next month as a sort of alpha version. We want to show it off at GDC, which I guess we'll talk about later. And we're building all the underlying SDKs right now to make all this work, because there's a lot of pieces that we need to make this work, but we're almost there. We have like the APIs that people run on their servers, and we have the wallet. The wallet gaming stuff is in production right now. We're working on that, and it'll be ready in a couple of weeks now. And that we're working on the Minecraft plugin, so it's very close. On the Unity side, we're basically 90% there. So another week or two, and we're gonna be fully fledged.
So basically, you're like pushing everything to the max here. It feels like you're basically trying to prepare everything for GDC. So that's a hard deadline coming up, and then you want to show that off to game developers. I mean, that's the kind of overall idea, because you're building the roads for either game developer, Minecraft servers owners, or of course Unity developers to be able to put these items on. But obviously, you want to show them how powerful it is. So I guess that's your deadline. We just had a comment here, which is kind of hilarious. Which is you need some sleep. So with the Minecraft plugin, you're close to showing that off. How easy is it for, say, a Minecraft server owner to make plugins or make something with Enjin with the SDK once it's released?
For a Minecraft developer wanting to integrate the items into their game, we're going to have a web panel that they can create their tokens, and then they can attach those tokens to Minecraft items using a config file. So there, you get a token ID, and you'll be able to attach that to an in-game item, and then those items will show up in the player's inventory or on the player, depending on if they're holding it or if they're using it. So you just link those items up. It's very simple. It's very easy to use. And in the game, they're going to be able to trade it to another player using a console command. That's version 1. So there's inventory management, and it'll show up in your wallet, and you'll be able to trade it. And then we're going to add on more features as we go.
Right. So right now, so in the first version, it's gonna be quite easy for the game the item issuing, I guess. So what you're saying is that if the server already is selling these special items, it should be quite easy for them to match up the item with the token.
Obviously, when you receive the item into your player account, to your Ethereum wallet, that will show up in the game immediately. So those items are synced. Any item that's on the blockchain attached to your Ethereum account will show up in the game.
Oh, cool. And then, of course, in the first version, there is a limitation. So if they want to trade the item, they can't just drop it on the ground and get someone to pick it up. They have to kind of use a command line. How hard is that command line to use?
Oh, you just type trade and type the player name, and it's automatically mapped in the background to the Ethereum account. So you don't have to type in someone's Ethereum address or anything like that. It's all done by internal player names.
Oh, okay, cool. So it's already matched up. So you don't have to really care about what's happening on the blockchain side, but you can just trade it as a trading item on Minecraft. What's the future of this? So you said that this is version 1.0. How do you want to progress and develop this in the future? What's your vision for this?
Well, then the next feature is going to be escrow trades, right? We're going to add that in. We already have that working on the smart contract side, but just item swaps and escrow trades. And then we're just going to try to add all the features that we have, like token bundles, non-fungible items. We're going to add that in. But With Minecraft, has a specific set of items and power-ups that people use. People also buy subscription power-ups, right? So once we get into the subscription angle later on this year, then they'll be able to use those things, and they'll be able to spend Enjin coins or any in-game token items on web shops. That's another big thing. Online shops, they'll be able to price these items in cryptocurrency or other items, and then accept those.
Okay, cool. So, wow, that's quite a lot. So basically, players can trade, players can get these items, and they can trade with other players. So maybe even like say, you can do a quest together, and maybe you can maybe hire some help to do some quests for in-game items, and then you can eventually even use that for subscription-based stuff. Basically, having a free flow economy. Cool.
And these subscriptions are actually enforced on Ethereum. They're not like PayPal subscriptions. Mm-hmm. So subscriptions are smart contract enforced, and it's not really ever been done properly on the blockchain.
Oh, wow, cool. That's so much. It's so much information to take in. Like, I feel like this is like one thing that every time I talk to you, just a lot of information to process at the same time, and I feel like it takes a while to kind of feel it, but eventually what you want to see is you want to see this really happening in Minecraft. And Minecraft still has a really huge, lively community, and I really hope to see Enjin actually functioning and being adopted, because that's going to be a great way to infiltrate the players, allowing them to first just play the games that they like, and then eventually see potentially these new items up, and then they're like, hey, cool, like I can trade these items and I can be able to put that on my wallet, and then eventually you can realize, oh wait, that can be now sold for real money or something that's valuable, and then pop, that's gonna upstart a new economy. I think that's something that's they've seen in other games, but not really that much in Minecraft, because Minecraft is I don't know. It's not. It hasn't been done there before. It's not kind of developed for it. But we're gonna strap it inside and see how it goes.
Yeah. Minecraft. It's a great sandbox environment, but there's a lot of virtual item trading that happens in Minecraft. Virtual item sales and purchases, but not quite the trading between players. So this will bring that out there, and it'll be really interesting.
Awesome, cool. So next part is the much bigger topic, which is Unity 5. So can you explain what Unity actually is? So for everyone who's watching who's not a game developer, what is Unity? Or what does that mean to you as well?
Okay, Unity is a full game engine. If you want to create a game, you can do it one way, which is programming everything from scratch, which is like making the graphics for it, making the audio engine, and spend a year or years building all that. Or you can use Unity, which is a pre-made game development platform. It has an amazing 3D engine. It has all the tools. You don't even have to program if you want to make a game. You can basically go into their visual editor and start building your game out of the different blocks that are there. There's a humongous community. There's millions of game developers that use this. It's the biggest platform in the world for building games. So you can do mobile games with it, web games, PC games. A lot of popular games are made using Unity. So we're building a plugin to Unity, and this will bring the entire suite of Enjin Coin functionality to Unity developers. And the way we're doing it is it's going to be familiar to Unity developers. There's going to be visual panels. You'll see you'll be able to log in, choose the game that you're developing, and you'll see your whole your whole item list. You'll see a nice grid of icons, all the items the tokens that you've created for your account. And then you can apply those to in-game items. So if you mint, using the Enjin platform, if you mint those, 500 swords, you've created those as a game developer. Now you can put those in the game visually and attach them to your 3D assets and apply all the different game parameters right in that visual interface. So it's very easy to use.
Awesome. So just to add in a bit, so I guess a lot of things for me are very closely related, because obviously I've been developing games for a while. I've been using Unity since Unity 4, which was pretty much the hardest thing to use. They improved a lot over time, and Unity really started off because it was very indie friendly. It was very easy to program It was very easy to deploy both Android and iOS games. So you can basically make, and in fact, Temple Run was made on it. Angry Birds was made on it. Hearthstone is made with Unity. So all these games, they're using the Unity engine. And the reason why is because it's so easy to program and also at the same time so easy to deploy onto different platforms. So we've been using that for basically 4 years. Honestly, it's a pain in the ass once you get to the debugging phase. It's the biggest pain once you're at like the final stages of development. But it's pretty much fixed now. In Unity 5, it's pretty much all the gripes we had is pretty much fixed. So but at this point, basically, almost everyone's using Unity. It's pretty much an industry standard, that and Unreal. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to be able to just directly plug in so that any developer who wants to use it, and especially if you're like, say, perhaps an indie developer that wants to try something on a blockchain, they can basically immediately import that and have an interface that they're familiar with to deploy that. And use it. One question that you said, so basically you need to mint items on the Enjin platform, right? So creating items and that will show up on the interface. So how is this minting process? So if I'm a developer and I want to use Enjin, do I have to mint my items first? Do I have to spend my Enjin coins to mint those items first? Or is there an automated process for that?
Yeah, so as a developer, you have to start with, you have to acquire some Enjin coin and use that to create your items. But you don't have to apply like 1 Enjin coin per 1 item. There's going to be a much lower minimum limit that you can put in. So you can mint hundreds or thousands or millions of items for, you might only spend $20 or $50 or whatever worth of Enjin coin. But there's going to be that is a necessary component of this system, because we have to create a substrate for all the games using this. We were trying to create a common substrate for game items. So each item has a little value of Enjin coin, or it could have a lot of Enjin coin inside of it. So when you're minting an item, all you do is you define the item name, you give it an icon, you tell it how many Enjin coin per unit there's going to be, and then you give it all its parameters. There's going to be, if it's bound to the player or if it's transferable. There's a lot of game-related, transfer-related parameters that you can set on those items.
Okay.
And then it gets deployed onto the blockchain.
Okay, so I've got a question. So if I have, say, a loot box, and the loot box contains some magical items, what if I run out of items? Is there a possibility? Let's say a lot of players play this game, and there's a 1% chance that every player is going to get the item. Then is there a chance that I'm going to run out of these items because now I have a finite supply and I might have to restock or something like that?
When we started building this, we only thought about doing the finite supply, but then we realized that game developers, their games might expand, they might grow, they might have more players come in. So we added something called supply models, where you can decide whether the item is a finite supply or if it grows at a certain rate per year. Like the game developers allowed to make an extra 10 swords or 500 potions every certain amount of time. And you can do an infinite amount of things with this system. You can let the game developer even define a smart contract that tells the game it tells the system how many items can be minted. So it could even be based on logic of what's happening with the items, supplies, how many people own them. If a lot of accounts own them, maybe it'll let you mint more than usual. So you can choose the supply model per item, and then it will follow that formula for that item. So it still gives the players that predictability of knowing, the game developer can't just suddenly mint 500 million items and flood the market. It's still going to follow some sort of formula, but you can choose the system it uses.
Right, because that's important, because as a game developer, sometimes you really don't know how many people are going to play the game. So this is the biggest problem I had when I was developing this game. When we did our mobile game, and it actually had items, and it was actually items selling and trading. It was a little bit like Recettear, actually. So with that, we didn't know how many people were going to play the game. That's the biggest problem with mobile games. Suddenly, one day you might become Flappy Birds, and the next day you might become utter trash, right? That's the kind of the risk reward of being a game developer. And unfortunately, you can try to plan the economy around it. You can design the economy, but you cannot really predict how many people are going to come. It kind of depends on the advertising, the marketing guys, or it might depend on Apple as well. If Apple or Google chooses to feature a game, then you're going to the moon, right? So suddenly you can maybe have like 1,000-fold player growth. And when that 1,000-fold comes, you don't really want to have no items for them. Like if they're coming in for some cool items or for the actual game economy will break if there's a finite supply and there's like a 5x or 10x in the number of players in the economy. So I'm glad that you solved the issue, because I feel like, yeah, for on a per server basis, if it was just a Minecraft world, you definitely want to control the supply. But then for a game developer, you definitely want to be able to have some sort of model where you can model or potentially cater to an enormous increase in the number of players. Okay, so in that sense, in Unity 5, so how many guys are you developing to or like using on your team to develop this plugin?
So we have 3 guys that are fully focused on the Unity side, and they're doing all the Unity panels, the Unity SDK stuff, and developing some demo games and demo projects. So later on, we'll be able to include those in the SDKs for people to just pop in and play with that demo game and see how it all works. Oh, so cool. We have 3 people on that. We actually brought on about 6 or 7 developers that are focused on all these SDKs in the last few months. So we have our team like doubled in size, which is awesome.
Nice. That's a great thing about having lots of crypto money, I guess, in that sense. You got to be the capacity to increase the number of developers you have. But how's working with that? Just an off-topic question. How's adjusting to more people coming in? Is that working well, or does that taking more effort for the team?
It's really good. It's really nice that we can now do all these different things at once. We can have all this parallel development happening, and things are moving a lot faster than I thought they would be. Like we're getting our milestones done, and it's looking really good. I'm really happy about the team right now.
Okay, cool, nice. So, okay, you're targeting for this, and then so what are you trying to do with GDC? So we heard that the hard deadline is GDC coming up. So I guess yet again, I'm gonna do the lazy path and say I'm gonna get you to explain what GDC is and what it means for you guys. And then I'll talk about that as well. So what
okay, is GDC? Well, GDC is the Game Developers Conference. It's the biggest conference in the world for game developers to come together and sort of learn from each other, go to different sessions, do speeches, show off what their new technology that they're working on, and debut new kinds of tech like VR and AR and now blockchain stuff. So it's really just a place for all the game developers to network, and it happens in San Francisco, California. And we were able to get a very beautiful booth in GDC right on the main hall, right beside Intel and Facebook and Google and Epic Games. So we're like right in the center of the action with Enjin, and we're going to be showing off all the stuff that we've been developing since last year. So we're going to have a really nice demo station there with 3 big monitors and some game pads, and you'll be actually able to there'll be some demo wallets there, and you'll be able to run around in a game, pick up items, see them show up in the wallet immediately, and use them in the game. And then you'll be able to melt them and do those Enjin coin functions.
Right, nice. So just to fill in as well, I've been going to pretty much quite a few GDCs, and the best one is in San Francisco, but there's also GDCs in Taiwan and Asia. There's also game developer specific conferences in China as well. So one thing to fill in here is that GDCs are mostly for game developers. And one of the most coolest things, or the scariest things we thought when we attended GDC in San Francisco around 2 years ago, was that if someone blew this conference center up, there'll be no games ever. Because like all the game developers are there, so we're like, oh shit! If there was a terrorist attacks or something, like all the game developers, we got Blizzard coming in talking about Hearthstone, how they designed it, the design philosophy behind it. We got everyone there with all that knowledge, and I was like, man, this is so scary. Everyone's here, if something happens to us.
Dark Ages gaming, right?
Yeah, man, it's all that knowledge is gonna be wiped out from the face of the planet. So I don't know. That was just an off-topic thing, but yeah. So it's not very well known. It's not a very player-oriented conference, but it's the place where all the game developers come to actually share information, to share how to develop games for the future. So I'm really glad that you guys saw this as an opportunity to actually get other game developers to come on board. I think this is something that a lot of game devs have been asking me about, because I've been quite
Yes.
strongly associated with the game development community in Hong Kong, and like how do we do stuff on a blockchain? And I think it's important to know that there is a framework here already. I think that's one of the most important things, is that they need to know what's already available, engines there, and how to mint items, and how they can pretty much develop a game if the SDK is released in pretty much like a week, right? Like if they're really smart about it, like that's how long it should take, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's really going to be a educational thing. Like we're going to have to tell people, and a lot of game developers probably haven't played with blockchain, or don't know much about it. So it's going to be a really big challenge for us to just tell everybody how this works. But I think the demos that we've set up for the booth, they're going to show people how it works. And our wallet is so easy to use, and the game is so intuitive to use that you'll just be able to play around. You'll see, oh, okay, this, you'll see the item pop into your wallet. It'll be right in front of you. So that'll be a really nice tool to show game developers how it works. And then we're going to do a talk as well, and go into the details of how all these SDKs work for about an hour.
For an hour. Nice. So it's like a full-on tutorial on how that works. So you'll be presenting that, right?
Yeah. We got the large conference hall at GDC, and we're going to be presenting it myself and Pat.
Oh, nice. So you got the large one. Nice. That's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah. So, and I think you alluded to something that's quite important here as well, is that even if the tech is quite easy to use, it's going to take a while for game developers to figure out how to use it. It's something like this hasn't really been done that much in gaming before, like having a decentralized trading. Like I said before, with Blizzard, they had the Diablo auction house, which failed pretty much because they got the game too much towards the auction house. And you couldn't trade between different gaming companies. Right now with Ethereum, you can now combine different companies and trade items like that between these companies. But the essence is that game developers need to know how to do it. And I think it comes with education, which is exactly what you said. To make a good game, yeah, it's not a it's not a 1 week process. Like, well, yeah, go on.
No, I mean, the thing is, one thing we get a lot of questions, and our game dev guys are getting a lot of questions from their friends at various game development companies, and they're like, how is this going to work? What if someone just buys up all the items in the game, and then what will we do? But the thing is, everyone is in this mind frame, this old mind frame of these games that were designed for the game developer can just infinitely create any item and just ban people from having all the items and just have full control. But this is now a situation where the game developer has their control that they set up for the game, but the player also has rights. So you're going to have to build new types of games around where the player has some rights, the game developer has some rights, and build you have to put some thought into how to set these games up with these limited types of items and giving the player these kind of powers.
Definitely. And this is the hard part, right? This is the part where you can't just spend money and solve it. And this is where indie gaming comes into play. As an indie game developer, we could take a few risks because, our games are a little bit smaller. It's a little bit more contained. It's a little bit cheaper to make. And, it's not like we're EA and we're making the next Star Wars game that costs around, $100 million to make. We're smaller, we're more agile. And in a sense, that means you can experiment more with the economy. That's basically how League of Legends came about, right? League of Legends came from Dota, and Dota, it was a player-made map. It wasn't even a game. Like, Dota wasn't even a game. It was just a player-made map on Warcraft 3, and it got so popular because, and in fact, I think more people played Dota than Warcraft 3 at that time. Most people didn't even know what Warcraft 3 was, nor can they even control units in Warcraft 3. So, definitely I feel like the indie scene should be something that should experiment with this first. I think it's something that's so new and so different that it needs to have a new sort of gameplay or some sort of new experimentation. So this year, hopefully they'll see the success of CryptoKitties. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that this is a real good opportunity to try new kinds of gameplay that's never been done before. I mean, this tool has not existed in the past. It's really a mind-blowing thing. You're finally going to be able to create real digital assets and use those to create new types of gameplay, new types of experiences in the game. And I think a lot of people are going to experiment and solve interesting problems and make new kinds of games. So it's really cool.
hopefully, like that's what I want to see. I mean, hopefully, the crypto scene changed a lot, especially with crypto kitties here. Now all the game developers, especially indie ones, they start realize, oh crap, you can make what, millions of dollars. Like my mind was blown at how expensive kitties were on crypto kitties. So hopefully we'll get a middle ground where the
Yeah,
items are cheaper and not just for the crypto crowd. Because like if you're not a crypto person going to crypto kitties, it's just like, what, this is in ETH? Is ETH $1? Because otherwise this doesn't make sense,
yeah,
right? Like it's like thousands of ETH just for a
yeah.
kitty. So hopefully we'll have something sort of more accessible, something that's like cheaper in terms of things. I mean, we saw Etherbots. Are you following up with what Etherbots are doing? I have tried playing it yet.
Yeah, there's. I haven't looked at them too closely, but yeah, I know there's a few different versions of this CryptoKitties concept that are building these kind of platforms. But the thing to realize is that with CryptoKitties, they are one kitty. They're using the kitty as the main token. But what you can build with Enjin Coin is you can build even complicated items built out of many different tokens, sort of like gem socketed items. We have a thing called token bundles, so you can build all sorts of new kinds of game items and game structures with this. And then the fact that they're tradable, and the fact that they can be fungible, non-fungible. These are just tools people can use to build new kinds of game pieces. It's you can't think of it only as, oh, every game that uses this, they're gonna get really expensive, and that's all they can build. I think you can build all sorts of amazing new kinds of gameplay, things where people invest tokens and then receive a return on like star players. You could do things like placing items in virtual what's it called, augmented reality, placing items that have coordinates on them. They're an actual token, and having people. If you've played a game called Ingress, you could have
That's precursor. Isn't that the
build
precursor to Pokemon Go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a precursor to Pokemon Go, where you could build like bases and secure perimeters and things like that. So imagine a game where like you're a real world tower defense, and you place your turret tokens around the world, and then a whole bunch of people have to come and use their token guns to like take out the turrets, and then they get the rewards into their wallets and stuff. It's like you can do lots of cool things.
Yeah, and I think this is something that people don't realize. Like Unity can develop, they've been pushing AR, VR for a long time, right? So this can be suitable for basically anything that's developed on Unity, which is pretty much every game, because nowadays. And in fact, like
Yeah.
people were asking, like just completely off topic, what's your view on Unreal? Are you guys gonna do anything for the Unreal Engine as well?
Yes, after we've got Minecraft and Unity and Java SDK in the bag, then we're going to be going right onto Unity, or right onto Unreal Development Kit, Unreal Engine, sorry, it's called now. So yeah, that we're building all the SDKs. I think we're going to use the Unity SDK, the Unity plugin, as the sort of template, and then the Godot and Unreal Engine SDKs are going to be very similar to that. We're going to try to keep the same kind of experience. So Unreal Engine is really cool. I played around with it a bit myself, and I love how quickly and easily you can build Oculus games and these things, and they just work out of the box.
Oh, really? I have. We never tried Unreal on our company. Like we saw it coming because it got much cheaper to develop for Unreal, but then at the same time, we were so knee deep in Unity that we couldn't change. But yeah, Unreal is pretty hot this year. I'm pretty cool to hear that you guys are also getting the Unreal development kit up for that as well. Okay, so we got some questions from the live audience as well. So this is kind of funny. I love reading live chat because people think that this is not live. I guess we should ask some live questions as well for a while. But yeah, so welcome everyone if you're live. I'm gonna start taking questions and start answering them as much as we can, and then we'll try to just talk a little bit about gaming and blockchain for the rest of this interview, because I think we pretty much grilled Whitech for what's happening here in terms of technology. And I do want to say, especially here, is that just to reply to some questions, no, this interview is not sponsored. I'm actually genuinely a game developer. If you don't know from the questions, then I don't know what to say. Also, of course, it takes a lot of time to actually answer questions. Actually, it's actually quite really hard to answer questions on live. So thanks so much for Whitech for coming and answering this live. And shout outs to everyone who's Box Nation.
Anytime.
Yeah. So we got Mr. Chris says Unreal is my first game engine in 2012. Yeah, Unreal. I mean, yeah, it's been there for a long time. Just it was super expensive in Unreal 3. So we got a question from Mr. Chris. Yeah. Are there thoughts about porting the Enjin framework to other platforms like Neo?
Ooh, well, not currently. We don't have any plans for that because we have we're so tied up with the whole thing is actually based on Ethereum, and we're building a whole Lightning Network type system called Efinity, and we're just going to be so busy with all these features we want to build in for like at least the next 2 years. We have so many things we want to add. I mean, our roadmap is basically build the core features in the next few months to get it out to people, and then start working on the scaling of this, and then after 2018 we want to start playing with game logic on the blockchain. So we're not looking at Neo right now.
Okay, cool. Disappointing for Neo fans, but Neo's got scaling solutions too, and they can just go there. Okay, let's see. People love playing a lot of games. We got Fortnite fans here. We got Call of Duty fans. We got a lot of people from EA Sports who loves EA Sports. So shout out to all the gamers out there. As a game developer coming into this space, it was actually much easier for me to understand cryptocurrencies because game economies work pretty much the same way. And I think how do you find Whitech? This is a question from me actually. So how do you find this whole cryptocurrency space? Now that you're kind of knee deep into cryptos and combining that with gaming, how do you see this whole space, like all this crazy volatile market with new coins coming in? How do you see that?
Well, it's just the real blossoming of a new age, right? Like this technology is finally coming to the masses, and people are just embracing it. They're trying to build all sorts of crazy things on it, and I love it. I love this renaissance that's happening. So our goal at Enjin is to make the best platform for gaming, because we think that gaming is the best sort of sandbox test bed for all the sorts of things you can do with crypto. It's the fastest adoption. You can build new universes in months and just like try all these cool new concepts out. And then eventually, I think gamers will be the ones innovating and solving these problems before any of the real world blockchain uses do them.
That was one of the topics I discussed, because gamers have a better understanding of token economics. We pretty much, if you play World of Warcraft, there's like a million tokens there, right? You got your dungeon crawling, you got your dungeon reward heroic, whatever tokens you get from heroic dungeons. You got your tokens you get from the mass raids. Like I forgot how many stupid tokens there are. Like every single raid had its own stupid token.
There's literally we actually had to scrape all the tokens and put them in our Enjin content management system. So I think there's something like 30,000 different items in. Yeah, something like that.
Oh man, that's crazy. But yeah, like gamers understand that, so that's a lucky thing. And I think that's cool that you think that gamers are the ones that's going to solve the problems, because that's what we're having right now. We're having millions of tokens, like millions of coins coming into cryptocurrencies, it's going to be hard to kind of figure out how and everything fits and where that's going. I think hopefully in the future it's going to be easier. A lot of people still think that there's too many and we need a search engine for blockchain, but honestly, like it's gonna become a point where there's only be a few projects that's gonna work. So hopefully, we need projects that start delivering this year in crypto. So I hope to see a lot of deliverance on this soon. So we got one question that was really cool. I'm gonna just scroll up and ask. So one is like, so when you're minting items in Enjin, where does the engine go? That's a pretty cool question from Crypto Command.
Okay, so the Enjin coins get assigned to the contract that is managing the tokens, and that specific amount of Enjin coin is reserved based on the exchange rate of the token. So if your exchange rate is 1 Enjin coin per 1 game token, then those are held by that contract. And when you melt them, those tokens are taken out of that contract. So it's very simple.
Right. So it's very simple, but it's not very simple, right?
So a smart contract on the blockchain can own its own tokens, right? A smart contract on the blockchain is almost like it's the same as any person. It can own things. So the smart contract has all this code developed to create these new tokens and hold Enjin coin in reserve. And then it has the melt function that when you hit melt, it returns those Enjin coins to whoever's melting that.
I gotta, yeah. So think of like Enjin as like Valerian steel or something, right? You create an item, it becomes becomes part of that item, and it gets held inside the item. But basically, if you ignore all the tech, it's that item. So basically, the Enjin becomes that item, and it gets held there. And behind it, in the backend, it's in a smart contract. So it's stuck in an Ethereum contract. But effectively, gamers can think that it's in there. And I think something that I guess a lot of people, we did this interview before, so just to fill in on everyone, we did this an interview talking about how Enjin works. So you can check that out. There's another video link. I'll put a link below somewhere. But the idea is that if you don't want this item anymore, if you feel like this item sucks, or you want to sell it and you can't sell it, but you can still have a value in there because you can melt the item down, just like Valerian steel in Game of Thrones. If you guys watch Game of Thrones, show alert there for Game of Thrones. But you can melt that item and just convert it back into Enjin, right? That was the discussion last time.
Exactly. You can think of it exactly as the material that was made, like the metal that was made to make that sword.
Right. So we have a question from John. How does the game item appreciate if its value is pegged to Enjin?
Well, the Enjin reserve value will stay the same per item, but the items always have an intrinsic value of their own in games, right? So if the sword is really useful in the game, people are going to want that sword for more than just the Enjin coin value. They're going to want it to kill awesome monsters in the game and win in the game. So you have to think about the material value of the item and the intrinsic value in the game. So if you made a sword out of pure gold in the real world, sure, that's a little bit more valuable than just the gold, because you can always melt that gold down, or you can kill things with a sword. So that has its extra value on there.
Right. So just going back, I love Game of Thrones analogies. Okay. So sorry if you don't watch Game of Thrones, but if you use Valerian to make Longclaw is cool. You don't want to melt that sword down again because Jon Snow used it, right? So the idea is like, yeah, if you want to do the ultimate insult and like just melt Longclaw down, sure, you can melt that back down to Valerian steel. But the cool part is that Jon Snow used it, so why would you want to do that? So I guess that's my kind of answer to my analogy. My Game of Thrones analogy done. Okay, there we go. Hope that answered the question. All right. Let's see. We got some more questions. We got George says, Michael, let's play some PUBG, man. Yeah, George. PUBG, I'm the worst player. I just hide in a bush somewhere. So, anyways, we got some other questions. Let's check the questions. Sorry if I'm slow reading these. Okay. So if you're creating a game using, so this is from Crypto Command. If you're creating a game using Enjin, do you have to fund the economy upfront?
Well, you have to fund some of the stuff, but you don't have to. Basically, the Enjin coin you put in an item, there's a minimum, very fractional, small amount you can do. So you can start with something like $20 or $30 of Enjin coin, and then build out a whole bunch of item types using it, and then start building your game using that. If you want to add more Enjin coin and make these items more valuable for that higher material cost, you can do that as well. But yes, everyone has to start with at least some Enjin coins to make these items, because that's the security aspect. That's what we're trying to build, this substrate of this common material used in all items across all the games.
Right. All right. Don't kill me for another Game of Thrones analogy, but the idea is that if you can put like 0.1% Valerian steel and make a bunch of swords with it, but then it's not very hard, right? It's got like 0.1% Valerian steel. But you've got 100% Valerian steel on your sword, then it's going to be badass. So that's kind of how it works, right? I love Game of Thrones. It works, man. It works. It works for me, anyways. Works for me. So you can create a badass item, you can make it very valuable. Players can see that this is super cool because it's got like a bunch of engines supporting it. Because it's just like Valerian steel. You got a bunch of Valerian steel. People can see, oh, yeah, this is a quality item. Boom, and then you can use that even to kind of show off and to classify items in games. I feel like because players always want something that's intrinsically valuable. So I feel like that's how it can work eventually, is that you could indie game developers, they can be cheap and put 0.1% in and test out whatever they want, and eventually they can move to bigger items too. So that's one thing indie gamers, so it doesn't really cost indie gamers a lot. But if you got like a bigger company, or not AAA but like a little bit less than AAA, which is what we're seeing this year, which is big games made by small studios, they can put more in. They can put more in to make sure that it's valuable and to create that economy that they want. So
there's also another aspect to this. With the item supply formulas I was talking about a little while back, you could make a small number of the items to start out with. You don't need 5 million of the swords if you only have like 50 players. So you can start with a small number of items and then use one of these supply formulas to, over time, as your game grows, increase the number of tokens. And then as the maximum cap of those tokens increases, you'll apply more engine over time to mint those.
Right. So it's kind of like, right, it's kind of like growing with the economy. The difficulty I've always had with this is because I'm not a Minecraft server owner, so I can't. I guess with Minecraft server owners, or if the economy is like a little bit more predictable, it's easy. But when I've been developing games, the player economy is super hard to manage, because like you got to work with your marketing team with that. Like it's like, what if they suddenly today they decide, yeah, let's pump this game and let's put a bunch of ads out. Then you're gonna have like a and honestly, like just from my experience, it was super hard because I was working in China, so it's not just with the marketing, but you have to do it with the publishers as well. Sometimes publishers, they can really go and what China really likes is they want to put like a lot of ads out on a certain day. So like it's just insane for game development. It was a big pain because we had no idea how many people are coming in a certain amount of time, and sometimes it can go crazy, and sometimes it can blow up our servers, and other times there's like nobody there because they forgot to put the ads on or something. So it's a little bit crazy for me, just a little bit off bit as game developers. Okay, so let's take some. Sorry, go on.
Go ahead. Well, the last thing I could say, as your game grows, you can also start adding different types of items. You can expand the game universe with new types of items, add those new types of tokens, just grow with that as your game grows.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. So I'm taking some questions from the Enjin Coin community as well. So basically, I think for the last few minutes here, we want to just talk a little bit about questions and answers. I do know, I apologize, I read very slowly, but and so what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit about this, and then we'll talk a little bit about GDC, and then we'll wrap it up. So is there ETA for the Unreal Engine?
We have a roadmap up on our website. We actually put a blog up with our new roadmap. We revamped it, so we're going to be starting Unreal Engine after Unity is fully released and ready. So I believe we're starting that pretty soon, within the next few months.
Oh, nice. Okay. So it's in progress. Next thing is the wallet. You made a new wallet. Why do you guys decide to make a wallet as well? Because there's an Enjin wallet.
Yeah, the wallet is a huge component to this. It's one of the key pieces of making this usable. We want to create a seamless experience when people are playing games, and we also wanted a crypto wallet. We also wanted to have we created a wallet because basically the way the games work, when you do a transaction in the game, the game will send a notification out to that person's wallet and say, do you want to sell this item, or do you want to buy this item, or do you want to trade this item with this user? And a big notification will pop up, and all you have to do is hit yes, I want to do that. That's the only action you have to do, that one click. So we want the wallet to be a key part of authenticating these things, like a two-factor type of thing. You're not going to have to install cryptic crypto wallets, and sign transactions and do all these, send things to cryptic long addresses. The wallet's going to integrate player data, player names. It's going to integrate the item icons themselves, the item names, all the item details. They're going to show up right in the wallet, and you'll be able to initiate and confirm all the trades that are happening in the gaming interface.
So it's kind of like two purpose. One is you can be a badass crypto wallet, but also if you want to play games on it, it can be a badass gaming wallet too. So.
Well, and okay, I'll say that we also did the crypto wallet because we thought that we could do it better, and it pretty fast, and so now it has that sort of dual purpose where we kind of we can promote Enjin Coin and also provide the most awesome Ether and Bitcoin and Litecoin wallet as well. I love this wallet, so
it's obvious that you're a big fan of this wallet.
Right.
Yeah, and I used it. It's really actually pretty good. It's only for Android right now, but when's the iOS going to be? Do you know anything with the iOS approval process?
Yeah, so we're very close to submitting it to the App Store, and you probably have to check on our Telegram. We're going to announce when that's going to happen.
Okay, cool though. Cool. Yeah. I think it's kind of cool to see a good interface. I think that's one thing that I guess I'm definitely biased here. Obviously, as a game designer, as a game developer, we make the best interfaces because players they need to interact with our game. Blizzard is a good example of someone that can make interfaces properly. And I think you guys as well definitely have the experience of making a good UI because a lot of crypto stuff, they don't have good UI. Like I don't want to shit on some wallets out there, but yeah.
Well, okay, let's just shit on Qt wallet. That's the first reason I dismissed Bitcoin in the first place. I was like, oh, this interface is so horrible, and I just uninstalled it like many years ago. But what we need is good usable interfaces for these things. People, the only way that the real masses of people are gonna adopt and embrace this technology is if it's like super easy to use. Like you want things to work. You want your player data to show up if you're gaming. You want the items to show up. You want to push one thing. You don't want to deal with like cryptic long cryptography strings. You don't want to see those even. So
I mean, that's one of the reasons, honestly, I just want to tell everyone, like, this is one thing that we kind of solved in crypto, thank God, this year. Because when I got into crypto, yeah, you're absolutely right. Qt wallet, even Core wallet, they are hard to use. Like, they're made by people who just use command line every day. They're made by people who know how to use command line and can write code. And it's one of the major reasons why I didn't... get a wallet even. I left my money in Mt. Gox. I think this is something that I've told my channel before. Like I left my money in Mt. Gox because Mt. Gox was easier to use than whatever Bitcoin wallets there were at that time. And it was unfortunate because Mt. Gox got closed down. And this is a reminder, take your money out of exchanges. We got solutions like these pieces of stuff now, like where you can save your crypto quite safely. And that's even a possibility. Before, it was just like, if you're not a computer nerd, you will not know how to save your Bitcoin safely. So, it's a huge difference. And another thing I was going to say is, like this year, for sure, I'm definitely excited to see what you guys can come up with. But the Enjin wallet is definitely super usable because you got the functionality as well as the usability. Oh, off topic as well. Do you know Samson Mo? Blockstream's CSO, the guy who sells hats, the hat seller. But yeah, he's a big game developer. I'm not sure if you guys.
I heard actually, and I just missed him. I was at a certain conference a few months ago, and I just missed him. I wanted to talk to him about games, but didn't get the chance.
And it's like we met because of games. So Samson and I are like, if you look at his name is @Excellion. Excellion is a game engine. Like it's his game engine. So like it's cool. Like the weirdest thing. Like you see @Excellion, and I'm like, oh, that's a game engine. But then now he's also like one of the most famous people in the crypto space. But yeah, we met before. Oh, go on.
I would say a lot of crypto stuff is gaming. I think it must be like I think Vitalik originally was like angry at losing items in a game, and then he went off and made Ethereum, right? So there's a lot of gamers and a lot of people talking about gaming since Ethereum started. So it's definitely
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a huge use case for blockchain.
yeah, and it's definitely one of those things. And yeah, I think Vitalik was the World of Warcraft thing, right? Like some losing some item
Yeah,
in WoW, and then he suddenly
I think
just
he
said,
got banned or something like that. Yeah,
yeah, and he's like, fuck this, I'm gonna make Ethereum, done.
yeah,
It's so weird. It's so weird. There's a lot of gaming influence in the space, and I think there's definitely a lot of potential here. So, anyways, people were talking about the Enjin partnership with the esports. So I think you guys recently
oh,
partnered with Energy esports, right? We just mentioned
yes,
that, and I guess yeah. Obviously, this was
yeah,
very
yeah.
tech based, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure you know what's happening with Energy.
Yeah, Energy is an awesome esports organization, and we're going to be helping them make items on the Enjin platform. So they're going to be using the Enjin coin tokens to if you're like a fan and you're on their Twitch, you do things on their platform, then you'll be able to earn these energy coins, and then you'll be able to convert them into energy items, and then maybe get real life swag and signed items from the energy team.
Awesome. That's been pretty cool. Like I really definitely want to see what you guys can
So
do there.
yeah,
So hopefully that comes out. So thank you guys so much for watching today. So we got 1 hour of talking with Witek, and guys, thank you so much for listening to this conversation as well. This was very gaming focused. So I guess one downside is that we got 2 guys who've been in game development for a while. So if you guys get lost, I'll try to hopefully explain a little bit more of why this stuff is important. But it's really good to talk to someone with really strong technical background who's been in gaming as well for a long time. So thank Witek for coming over, and I hope you guys enjoyed this chat with us. So thank you guys for watching, and thank you so much, Witek, for coming here. So see you guys next time.